Today, President Trump signed an executive order to protect America's children from surgical mutilation and trans ideology. Hell fucking yeah! This is an incredible victory for families, science, and truth. Abso-fucking-lutely, dude. Fact sheet, President Donald J. Trump protects children from chemical and surgical mutilation. I'm glad that he is calling it exactly what it fucking is, instead of using their, like, wishy-washy fucking transgender care language. Today, President Donald J. Trump signed an executive order to protect children from experimental chemical and surgical mutilation. The United States will no longer fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support the barbaric so-called transition of a child. President Trump has already revoked President Biden's harmful order promoting the chemical and surgical mutilation on children, mislabeled as gender-affirming care. Oh, I love having a real president. Man, speaking of people who can't perceive breakfast, there were a whole bunch of people commenting on my tweet when I said, finally, we have a real leader for the first time in my life. And a bunch of people who just probably don't know anything about politics were like, Kirsche, you fucking idiot. Trump was already president before. He had a 4-year term. What do you mean? Bro, did you see how disastrous his first term was? Did you see how many people were not only lying to him, but blockading literally everything he wanted to do? Like, yeah, I'm glad he did some shit, like getting rid of the fucking Obamacare tax, right? But it wasn't a real presidency as far as I'm concerned, because he couldn't do everything he wanted to do. Now, the gloves are fucking off, and he's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to do what needs to get fucking done. This time he's going ham. Yeah, exactly. Daddy Trump is home, and he's going to give you a vigorous spanking. First term was the biggest letdown of all time. It was fun to watch all of the seething, but yeah, he definitely did not get enough done. It orders agencies to use every available means to cut off federal financial participation in institutions which provide chemical and surgical mutilation of children. Fuck yeah, dude. No one should be receiving federal funds if they're doing these kinds of barbaric surgeries. Tax dollars even should not be paying for this. For children or adults, tax dollars should not be paying for it. Taxpayers, oh, hell yeah! He's a fucking next sentence, dude. Taxpayers will no longer fund the chemical and surgical mutilation of children through federal employees' insurance plans. Fuck yeah. Department of Justice is ordered to prioritize investigations of those who would subject young women from these barbaric acts under the federal government's existing statutes, which prohibit female genital mutilation, and to investigate consumer deception and fraud. I cannot wait to start seeing doctors' heads rolling from this shit. Doctors who are perpetuating these surgeries under, like, do no harm when all they're doing are mutilating healthy bodies. Holy fucking shit, yeah, dude. To improve healthcare for children with gender dysphoria, the federal government will no longer use standards from the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, otherwise known as WPATH. WPATH prioritized pressure from Biden transgender radicals over science and the well-being of children. Increase the quality of the available data to better treat minors. It sets in motion congressional action to empower detransitioners to receive justice against those who so callously led them down this path. I've been saying for years that there is going to be a crazy reckoning, that eventually some of these children who are pushed into transitioning by their parents, doing it either for like Munchausen by proxy reasons, doing it for like social status and head pats and monetary reasons, these children are either going to start suing their parents into the fucking ground, or they're going to put their parents in the ground. Either one, it's not going to be a very pretty outcome. So I'm glad that he says that here. And I also am glad that they're no longer using WPATH and they're trying to increase the quality of available data. I think this is also a good thing because, once again, personally, I feel like distinguishing between the ideologues, the trenders, the autogynephiliacs, the fetishists, and then people who actually have dysphoria is something that is necessary to differentiate with. Do I think children have gender dysphoria? Probably not. This seems to be something that you acquire later on in life. I feel like a gender dysphoric child is kind of like a vegan cat. Maybe the science will prove me wrong once we have more data, but that is currently how I feel this kind of shakes out. Who's grounded now, Mom? They missed Trump for too long. This is the year of the reckoning. Definitely a trend these days. Yeah. And do you think your previous gynecologist will revert from catering to trans care now that the money's drying up? That's a good question. I'll have to see. I'll have to check in on him. I still need to find a new gynecologist, but I guess if I'm going to be trying to move very quickly, I shouldn't look for one here. It sets in motion, I already read that part, inhumane medical experimentation on kids must stop. These aggressive and experimental medical interventions, such as chemical castration and genital mutilation, are based on ideology and not founded on evidence-based medicine and science. After several nations conducted systemic evidence reviews, Europe is moving away from these so-called treatments. This order puts us more in line with European nations who have conducted that the risk of treatment does not outweigh the benefit. That's true. We've watched a couple of little documentaries on this. The one from Sweden, I think, was like the best expositional one, because all of this stuff started in Sweden, and then the documentary was basically like, so the follow-up studies basically proved that the first one was entirely incorrect. Volunteer to be your gyno? Hold on, wait a minute. President Trump is protecting the vast majority of kids who outgrow gender dysphoria. Chemical mutilation, i.e. puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, causes permanent changes in bone density, body hair, fat distribution, voice pitch, and fertility. And these chemicals can lead to infertility. Cross-sex surgeries are irreversible. One of the favorite talking points of people pushing this was that it's all irreversible. You can change your mind when you get older. It's just to stop the puberty now in case you want to continue transitioning. And we all know that wasn't fucking true. And there is a viable alternative, talk therapy. Talk therapy is the traditional and most proven treatment for gender dysphoria in minors. The federal government will do everything in its power to ensure data and resources are available to best care for children. And this is part of what led to the lawsuit against the NHS in the UK, was that doctors weren't talking to children claiming they had gender dysphoria. They were just fast-tracking them through the hormones and through the surgeries and reaffirming their gender identity instead of saying, hey, maybe this isn't what you have. Maybe you just have self-esteem issues. Maybe you just have these other issues because your body is going through changes in puberty and it's a scary time. You hate people that say it just pauses puberty. Puberty doesn't have a fucking pause button. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, it was crazy how many people bought into that lie. And when they coupled it with the emotional manipulation of like, oh, would you rather have like a dead son or an alive daughter? A lot of people aren't able to like think logically in that moment because they're just like, oh God, I need to save my child, right? Our grandchildren will judge us for not boogalooing. True. Making Bruce Jenner Woman of the Year started this crap. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Bruce Jenner comes out and says about how all this is bad. And it's like, I don't take anything Bruce Jenner says seriously. Because if he was serious about this kind of stuff, he wouldn't have accepted a Woman of the Year award. President Trump puts biology over ideology. President Trump has long vowed to revoke Biden's gender-affirming care policies and protect children from this dangerous ideology. I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care, a process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutilating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. End all taxpayer funding for trans surgeries and drugs. It's not even just for minors. He said all taxpayer funding. I fucking love the Orange Man! Oh, God. End all taxpayer funding for trans surgeries and drugs. We will pass and sign legislation prohibiting a single federal taxpayer dollar from going to promote, subsidize, or enable the surgical and chemical mutilation of our children. Fucking based Orange Man, dude. If women have to pay for their cosmetic surgeries, if men have to pay for their cosmetic surgeries, you can pay for your cosmetic surgeries yourself too, man. Defund federal promotion of trans ideology. I will sign an executive order barring federal agencies from promoting sex and gender transition at any age. Based. Panel to review effects of transgender treatment. Upon my inauguration, I will direct the FDA to convene an independent outside panel to investigate whether transgender hormone treatments and ideology increase the risk of extreme depression, aggression, and even violence. I would love to see the results from that. No federal funds for providers who mutilate children. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth no longer meets federal health and safety standards. They will be terminated from receiving federal funds effective immediately. This is like the greatest news I've read all week, man. Finally bringing sanity back to our country. God damn. They're fired. He said the thing. Alucard Leon, thank you for the 10. Let's fucking go. Your shoulders are mad fucked, but still pushing. Also, seriously, where can you go to pick up autistic women in the South? Fuck the cartel. They kicked you off the Navajo reservation? What the fuck? How can the cartel come in and take your reservation? How have you been displaced by the Spaniards twice? How soon do they go into effect? Or does this have to go through the Senate or something? This is an executive order. This is an executive order. This is from 5:30 p.m. today. No more carved kids. Protect the children's, dude. Trump was advocating for the deportation of American repeat criminals earlier too. Let's fucking go base. Yeah, didn't he say he was like gonna send them to like Venezuela or some shit? The image of like the smiling leader of Venezuela. I can't remember. Was it Venezuela or was it somewhere else? Was it somewhere else, Chad? I can't remember where, but the leader's smiling face. It was just so perfect. He's like, you're gonna get so fucked up. Was it El Salvador? Was it El Salvador? Thank you, chat. Thank you for the correction. He's gonna send them to El Salvador. Just like the smiling face of the El Salvador leader. A Bukele? Bukele. Bukele? I don't know how to pronounce his name. But his face was just like, yeah, you criminals are gonna come here and you're gonna get fucked up. Like, he just looked like so fucking ready for it, dude. El Salvador is an authoritarian dictatorship, but it worked. I do not know much about El Salvador.
Bukele.
So what about the Affordable Care Act? I hope they're going to do something about healthcare in general at this point, because obviously something needs to be done about that too. I saw someone mention Colombia in chat, so I'm going to bring up the shitpost, because I think the shitpost sums up exactly what happened beautifully. This vagrant of roads guy here said, "Be the president of Colombia. See a chance to pull a standard liberal political stunt on U.S. deportation flights. Think you will be rewarded by lib NGOs and media for resisting Trump like usual. Fully believe they will save your remittance grift economy. Except Trump is serious and had an entire list of punishments waiting precisely for someone stupid enough to be the first to try this type of stunt. Which now happens to be you, Colombia. Trump eviscerates your career and cuts all access to America's economy because he needed one sucker to step out of line to make an example out of other nations about how serious we take migration policy now. Panic sets in. This is bad. But it's okay. You can do the usual fake apologies via backroom talks to some State Department toady, maybe bribe him with some cartel money. Make the call. But Tom Homan answers and instead tells you, "Wagged Ficky? We are going to fucking kill you!" I'm sure that's exactly what he said. Immediately frozen out of all trade and economic talks, 25% sanctions increasing to 50% next week. Remittance grift and migrant parasite economy now at risk of complete shutdown because of your miscalculation. Trump emotes on the corpse of your political career with an AI photo of himself in a zoot suit. Truly incredible. Look at the fucking smiley face, dude. It's so cute. It's so... Imagine tweeting this out after just shitting down the throat of a fucking world leader that tried to step up to you and think that they could still bully you like our previous leaders. That's our godfather.